Hey guys, I may not have mentioned this before, but I used to work at a place called Five Guys. Here, let me tell you the story about it. You go from store to store, asking for positions, looking for a job. Retail stores, malls, restaurants. Doesn't matter so long as their sign says they have an opening. You finish an application, make the phone call, ask for the manager, they say we'll call you back, and they never do. This sad process goes on for over a year. One day, miraculously, you get a phone call from Five Guys. Collecting yourself, you say the right things and head to the interview. You act composed and reassured of your skills. The district manager catches on to your willingness to work and promises to call you back, and sure enough he does. You agree to come in that Saturday and Sunday. You were told on your first day you'd be receiving training. You'd be filling out paperwork. Now perhaps you were hearing things. But you thought for certain the district manager would be there. Unexpectedly, after we're driving what appears to be about an hour, the store manager has no idea what to do with you. For the sake of confidentiality, we'll refer to the woman as Ava. You sit around 30 minutes confused about why Ava and the district manager have not spoken to each other, but remain as optimistic as humanly possible. Finally, you get called to the back after all that time. Without proper training, you're already getting to work, washing dishes, tables and sweeping the floor, working the register. You tell yourself it'll be fine as long as you remain calm. Ava was a hurried woman and she had a tight schedule to maintain, so you tried to keep up with her. You can't afford to miss a spot, and it was exhausting, but you pulled it off. After 5 hours, you are told to leave. Regretfully, you depart, but not without asking about your schedule. The store manager has not prepared a schedule for you. She tells you to leave the uniform. As bad as things look, you try to remain hopeful. Before you go, Ava collects your social security information and your cell phone number. The following Saturday, you call Five Guys about being on the schedule. And the store manager hangs up on you. You call again, and Ava has no idea who you are. Worse, you're not even in the employee list. You call on another Saturday, and the same woman informs you she has hired 7 more people. You are no longer needed. The store manager needs someone who can work full-time from Monday to Friday. This is in spite of the district manager's agreement that you had previously established. You feel melancholy. You aren't fired, but you're not working either. To lighten up the mood, you start to tell your girlfriend that you're self-employed. It makes you think you're in denial of reality, though, so it's just really hard to look upbeat after basically being terminated on your first day. Since you're no longer working, but you have bills to pay, you ask for a cash out. To which the store manager tells you the check will arrive in 2 weeks. More than a month passes with not a single word from Ava. You contact Five Guys HQ and speak to another store manager who will call Jay. Eventually, Jay contacts the district manager and you get offered your job back. Mysteriously, the original store manager goes on an extended vacation. Now that Ava is gone, another store manager who we'll call Bianca is put in charge of supervising you. Now the immediate difference is Bianca is more patient and friendly, but she missed the memo about your arrival. as well. You were promised training again, but seemingly don't need it. You spend 5 hours preparing fries with vague instructions and limited success. After 4 p.m., Jay arrives for his shift. He acts cool and you're excited to work with him. But he sends you home after 20 minutes. You tell Jay you're supposed to work for 7 hours, but he's adamant about you leaving for the day. You actually receive food since you worked more than 3 hours, and he refuses. Jay refuses on the basis that you never logged in your employee code, a process that was literally never taught to you. Somehow you hadn't even been given an employee code. You told Jay beforehand that this was your second day. The last thing you do is ask about your schedule. He says he'll call you. Even write your phone number down. And not to expect anything better, but of course he didn't. Jay never calls you, and when you decide to call him, he tries to fire you. Supposedly, he got the impression you didn't even want to be there. He was not satisfied with your level of fry production. You remind Jay you worked 5 hours beforehand with Bianca, and she never corrected you. Jay specifically says it'll never work out for you. 6 years convictions, and you find that disingenuous because of your limited interaction, which was 20 minutes. You call the district manager, and Jay's report has him unconvinced. He wants to reevaluate you himself personally. Sure enough, you accept your job back for the second time. Against your better judgment, you agree because you'd rather have any job than no job. Despite your personal feelings, the Saturday's a success. You get over your ego, you act as productive as possible. The district manager gives you the online training that you were promised since the beginning. You do 3 different exams. 2, you get 100% on it, and 1 you get an 80% on. You clean everything like last time, including the bathroom. You prepare cheese and label it. You even get the hang of taking orders over the phone. At the end of the shift, you feel confident in your ability to continue working at Five Guys. The district manager says the mistakes which you did make were not your fault. He says he wants to keep you around. He gives you a tip, a meal, and promises to call you about your schedule. But he doesn't. You call one of your employees and ask about if you're needed for the week. They tell you you're not on the schedule. And then you call the next week. And you reach Jay. You ask about your schedule, trying to remain mellow. And he says you're not. The next time you head to the store, that Sunday to get your paycheck, you think that it'll be super easy, barely an inconvenience. All you gotta do is just ask for it. You arrive sometime after 8 p.m. Feeling nostalgic, you coast into the store. No one's in line. You run into your good friend Jay. You casually ask for your check, and he casually asks for your uniform. You remind him that you're not fired. Therefore, it makes no sense to return it. He insists you return your shirt and hat. And you insist that you still work there. Fellow employees who know you ask if you're fired, and you tell them the truth, that you're not. Customers start getting in line, and you try not to cause a scene. You sit down waiting like an actual, customer, hoping that he'll just hand over your paycheck like he's, the manager, like he's supposed to. As if confident you'd give up, Jay tells you he spoke to his boss. You tell Jay that the district manager says you're not fired. In fact, you're still hired. You tell Jay the district manager says you're still hired. Our feud reaches the ears of the Five Guys customers, and a single gentleman comes to your defense. The man tells Jay that whatever the cost of the uniform was, you should still get paid. Jay tries to argue back to the man, the customer. He'd prematurely decided that you were fired without a cause. By this point, the confusion causes the whole store to be staring at him like he's a maniac. Children, elders watching him, Jay relents. He aggressively hands you your paycheck as if he was doing you a favor, with no time to say another word. We all scatter to the winds, tired and frustrated. If the previous firings were not assigned to leave, this one was the final straw.
All I could think to do was to make this video and hope that the world will finally see this man for what he really is.